He's a cheater who failed when his gender was unveiled. We speak of the chess-playing jerka who hid inside a burqa. Jerka, we had to make the word up. Yeah. It's not our fault they use a term that has no rhyme. Burqa. Really hurts people like me. An internationally rated male chess player in Kenya has been busted disguising himself as a woman, on the right there, to compete in the women's division. Talk about cheating. What does he think this is, a woman's swim meet? The Kenya Open Chess Championship held earlier this week offered prize money totaling 42 grand. While it's no Bud Light sponsorship, it's still a decent payday for cross-dressing nerds. And that's what piqued the interest of a young, cash-strapped college kid. The fraudster hid his identity by wearing a niqab, registering under a fake name, and never talking, which is what I do whenever I'm checking in at the Marriott Express. That, and I tell them the frightened young man I'm traveling with is my nephew. But you're leaving alone the next morning. Oh, shut up. But the disguise worked. He was able to fool his competitors and even tournament staff. Suspicions only rose after he beat Uganda's top female chess player, at which point he was investigated and finally gave up the ruse. Now, we're not sure if this story's a scandal among native Kenyans, and we haven't heard back yet from Barack Obama.
An unhinged conspiracy freak would say.
The cheater has since been expelled from the tournament, and no one knows what his next move will be. Whoa. Yeah, his winnings are long gone, but on the bright side, he got 5 marriage proposals from the Taliban. And if he can't win playing as a queen, he can always go back to beating the bishop. You know,
It took me a second. I got it.
I'm sorry, Tulsi, for the second time. But I want to add, this is the most difficult question. What does it say when some no-name dude in a dress beats the country's best female player? What's that say? I'll let you answer that.
My question is, when I saw this story, was can you imagine what would happen if that happened here in the United States?
Why didn't he identify as trans?
Well, I mean, look, you look at what he's wearing, you look at how he's identifying.
Right.
You look at this woke culture in our own society, people would be silent, and he would be walking away with the winning.
Yeah.
The winning cash.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right?
if he was in America, they would have been on his side, and all he would have to say is that he's a she.
Listen, I need to sit the brother down and explain things to them how it works. See, where he went wrong was he tried to still be a man. See, and that's what you and I talked about in the back. Men have consequences for their actions. Now, if he would have identified a woman, he wouldn't even need the costume.
That's true.
He could have grew his beard out like mine and been like, "What up, girls? I'm here."
Yes.
I identify as, and no one can say anything. But he wanted to be arrogant and still be a man. You can't have it both ways, bro.
Yeah.
Okay? If you want to play in the girl sport, you got to identify as a woman. That's the only fair way to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so funny. He should have.
That was literally the stupidest thing I've ever said in my life, but it makes sense. Yeah.
It is. It's so true. He's behind the times. He should have just said he was a woman, and he wouldn't have to wear the burqa at all. What an idiot. Stupid Kenyan. That's not racist.
No.
He is Kenyan, and he's stupid. Hence.
Well, he did beat the world.
Yes, he did. Okay.
Smart.
I'm just going to stop talking.
Tulsi didn't answer the question. What does it say when some no-name college dude beats the world champion female Kenyan in chess? What's that say?
I can answer that.
Yes?
So I think men are probably better at chess than women, but here's why. Because women are more emotionally intelligent than men are, so it's less likely for us to wind up with the kind of social life that would force us to resort to competitive chess.
That's true. I think you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. Good call there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the way most girls play checkers.
See, that's proof that
See, you missed
your
the
emotional
point.
intelligence is below mine. I would never say something like that to another human being, let alone on camera.
Your safe word is Yahtzee. That makes no sense.
Doesn't even make sense.
I don't even know why I said that.
Finish it by saying a sexist would say.
A sexist would say, we'll drop that in post.
I mean, I think, first of all, I don't think trans is a thing in Kenya.
No, it's not.
You know, it's not really a thing. So I don't think he had the option because we have not yet exported our nonsense on that front to Kenya.
It's so true.
We're the ones that are pushing and peddling this stuff all around the world.
Do you remember how we, and I mean we as in Fox, would one of the talking points was always, we don't want to be like Europe. Like they're turning us into Europe as a socialist state. Who knew that I kind of wish we were Europe because they're not crazy.
No, I'm pretty sure I said that 100 times.
Yeah, they're not crazy. I know. Now it's like the Europeans are like looking at us going, what the hell happened to you
And we're
people?
looking at ourselves and I'm going, wait, okay, are we the bad guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're the ones pushing other countries to go backwards in the name of climate change and forwards in the name of child mutilation.
Remember when we would go after Muslims for female circumcision? Remember that? What are we doing now?
Female genital mutilation.
Exactly. It's
Here
like
in the
we're
United
like it's kind of scary and sobering at the same time. Well, I think that's it for today's show. We have a whole nother half. Up next, will a constant smile postpone going senile?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.